The red sun of Kepler 442b was setting behind the jagged mountains when Park Min-soo first saw the dragon. He had been working on the mining planet for only 3 days, but everyone had warned him about the creature that lived in the crystal caves. Stay away from the north side, his supervisor had said. That's where the dragon lives. It's been there for 100 years. Min-soo thought they were joking. Dragons were stories for children, not real things that lived on mining planets. But as he walked toward the equipment shed that evening, he heard it, a low, painful sound. That made his heart hurt. The sound came from the crystal caves. Min-soo looked around. No one else was nearby. All the other workers had gone back to the main base for dinner. He should go back too, but something made him stop. The sound came again. It was like crying, but deeper. Much deeper. Min-soo walked slowly toward the caves. The ground was covered with blue crystals that glowed softly in the dim light. These crystals were why humans had come to this planet. They were worth more than gold back on Earth. As he got closer to the caves, Min-soo saw something that made him stop breathing. A dragon lay in front of the largest cave. But it was not like the dragons in old stories. This dragon looked sick. Its scales were gray and dull, not shiny like they should be. Its huge body was thin, and its wings hung down like broken cloth. The dragon's head was the size of a small truck. Its eyes were closed, and it was making that sad sound again. Next to the dragon was a small pool of water. The dragon moved its great head toward the water, opened its mouth, and tried to drink. The water turned to steam before it could touch the dragon's tongue. Min-soo watched in shock as the dragon tried again and again. Each time the water became steam. The dragon's eyes opened, and Min-soo saw something that made his chest tight with sadness. The dragon's eyes were full of pain and hopelessness. The dragon had not seen him yet. Min-soo knew he should run, but he could not move. He had never seen anything so sad in his life. The dragon tried to drink again. This time it made a sound like a sob when the water turned to steam. The great creature put its head down on the ground and closed its eyes. Min-soo took a step back and stepped on a crystal. The sound made the dragon's eyes open fast. The dragon's head turned toward him, and Min-soo found himself looking into eyes that were older than anything he had ever seen. For a moment, neither of them moved. The dragon stared at the small human. Min-soo stared back at the dragon. He should be scared, he should run. But all he felt was sadness for this suffering creature. The dragon spoke. Its voice was like rocks falling down a mountain, rough and tired. Another human, the dragon said. Come to stare at the cursed beast. Min-soo's mouth fell open. The dragon could talk. I didn't know you could speak, Min-soo said. The dragon made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was not happy. I am Relentless, once guardian of the draconic worlds. Now I am nothing but a prisoner on this rock. Why can't you drink the water? Min-soo asked. Relentless looked at him with surprise. You do not run? You do not scream? You ask about my curse? You look like you're in pain, Min-soo said simply. The dragon was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke again, its voice softer now. 100 years ago, I failed to protect my people. Our worlds were attacked, and I could not save them. The last empress of our kind cursed me before she died. I can never drink again. Water, blood, even morning dew. Everything turns to steam before I can taste it. Min-soo felt his heart break a little. That's horrible. The curse binds me to this planet, Relentless continued. I cannot leave until it is broken. But it never will be. I am meant to suffer here until I die. Min-soo looked at the pool of water, then back at the dragon. What if someone could help you? Relentless shook its great head. Many have tried. Wizards, scientists, even other dragons. Nothing works. The curse is too strong. But no one has tried human technology, Min-soo said. The dragon looked at him with something that might have been hope, then shook its head again. Humans know nothing of magic. Maybe that's good, Min-soo said. Maybe we can find a way around. Relentless stared at him. You would help me? Why? Min-soo thought about it. Because you're suffering and that's not right. The dragon was quiet for a long time. The red sun had almost set, and the crystals were glowing brighter now. Finally, Velthy spoke. "What is your name, small human?" "Park Minsu. I'm a mechanic." "Park Minsu," the dragon repeated slowly. "I have not had a real conversation in 50 years. The other humans fear me." "I'm not scared of you," Minsu said, and he realized it was true. "You're just hurt." "I am a dragon," Velthy said. "I could kill you with one breath, but you won't," Minsu said. "You're not evil, you're just sad." Velthy's looked at him for a long moment. "You are either very brave or very foolish." "Probably both," Minsu said with a small smile. The dragon's mouth curved slightly. It might have been a smile too. "I should go back," Minsu said. "They'll wonder where I am." "Yes," Velthy sighed, "and you should not come back. It is dangerous." But as Minsu walked away, he was already thinking about the dragon's problem. He was a mechanic. He fixed things. Maybe he could fix this two-dot behind him. Velthy watched the small human disappear into the darkness. For the first time in decades, the dragon felt something other than despair. Hope was a dangerous thing. But maybe, just maybe, this human was different. The next morning, Minsu could not stop thinking about the dragon. He sat in the cafeteria, eating his breakfast, but the food tasted like nothing. All he could see was Velthy trying to drink water that turned to steam. "You look tired," said Kim Daeho, sitting down across from him. Daeho was an older worker who had been on the planet for 5 years. "Bad dreams?" "Something like that," Minsu said. "Let me guess." "You heard the dragon last night?" Minsu looked up quickly. "You hear it too?" "Everyone does. That sad crying sound." "It's worse at night." Daeho shook his head. "Poor thing has been suffering for as long as I've been here, maybe longer. Why doesn't anyone help it?" Daeho laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Help a dragon? Kid, that thing could eat you in one bite. Besides, what could we do? It's cursed by magic. We're just miners." "But, listen," Daeho said, leaning forward. "I know you're new here, but trust me. Stay away from the North Caves. That dragon is dangerous, even if it is suffering. Li Ji-wan has made that very clear." Li Ji-wan was the station's chief administrator. She ran everything on the mining base. Minsu had met her once when he arrived, and she seemed nice but very serious. "What does she know about the dragon?" Minsu asked. "More than anyone. She's been dealing with it for 5 years. Lost 3 workers to dragon attacks before she figured out how to keep everyone safe." Minsu frowned. "The dragon attacks people?" "Not anymore, but it used to, when it first got really desperate. Now it just stays in its cave and suffers quietly." Daeho finished his coffee. "Come on, we have work to do." All day, Minsu worked on the mining equipment, but his mind was somewhere else. He kept thinking about Velthy, alone in that cave, trying over and over to drink water that would never touch its tongue. During lunch break, he went to the station's computer room. The old terminals had files about the planet's history. Most workers never looked at them, but Minsu wanted to know more. He found files about the dragon, but they were mostly warnings. "Dangerous creature in North Sector. All personnel stay clear. Do not approach under any circumstances." Then he found something interesting. An old report from a Confederate research team that had studied the planet before humans arrived. The report mentioned that the dragon had once been a protector of an ancient civilization. "The creature appears to be bound by some form of magical curse," the report said. "It shows signs of extreme dehydration but cannot consume liquids. The curse prevents it from leaving the planet. Despite its fearsome appearance, the creature has shown no aggression toward our research team." Minsu printed the report and read it again. The dragon had not always been aggressive. Something had changed. "What are you reading?" Minsu jumped. Li Ji-wan stood behind him, looking at the papers in his hands. "Just learning about the planet," Minsu said. Ji-wan looked at the report and her face became serious. "You're reading about the dragon?" "Yes, ma'am. Why?" Minsu thought about lying but decided to tell the truth. "I saw it last night. It looked like it was in pain." Ji-wan sat down next to him. "It is in pain. Constant, terrible pain. But that doesn't make it safe." The report says it wasn't aggressive to the researchers. That was different. When the dragon first came here, it was weak from its curse, but still had hope. Now it's been suffering for 100 years. Pain makes creatures unpredictable. But what if someone could help it? Jiwan looked at him carefully. Many people have tried. Scientists, doctors, even some people who claim to understand magic. Nothing worked. The curse is too strong. What if... No. Jiwan's voice was firm. I know what you're thinking. You want to try to help it. But I can't let you risk your life. Or the lives of everyone on this station. But, Minsu, I've been here for 5 years. I've seen what happens when people try to help that dragon. It gets their hopes up, and when they fail, it gets angry. And when a dragon gets angry, people die. Minsu felt frustrated. So we just let it suffer? Yes, Jiwan said sadly. Because that's better than letting it kill us all? She stood up to leave, then turned back. Stay away from the north caves. That's an order. That night, Minsu could not sleep. He kept thinking about Veilthes alone in the cave, trying to drink water that would never come. He thought about what Jiwan had said about people trying to help and failing, but maybe they had been trying the wrong way. Finally, he got up and put on his work clothes. He grabbed some tools from his kit and walked quietly out of the sleeping quarters. The base was quiet. Everyone else was asleep. He walked to the north caves where the blue crystals glowed softly in the darkness. He could hear the dragon inside, making that sad sound again. Veilthes? He called softly. The sound stopped. After a moment, the dragon's great head appeared at the cave entrance. Park Minsu, the dragon said. I told you not to come back. I brought you something, Minsu said, holding up a small metal wrench. The dragon looked confused. What is that? A tool? I thought you might be bored. Being stuck here for so long, Veilthes stared at the wrench. You brought me a gift? I guess so. The dragon carefully took the wrench in one massive claw. It was tiny in its grip, but it held it gently. No one has given me a gift in 100 years, Veilthes said quietly. I've been thinking about your problem, Minsu said. The curse prevents you from drinking liquids, right? Yes, but what if the liquid came from somewhere else? What if it wasn't really drinking? What do you mean? Not sure yet, but I'm a mechanic. I solve problems with machines. Maybe I can solve this problem too. Veilthes looked at him with those ancient eyes. You really think you can help me? I don't know, but I want to try. The dragon was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke, its voice soft and full of something that might have been hope. Why do you care so much about helping me? Minsu thought about it. Because everyone deserves a chance to be happy, even dragons. Veilthes made a sound that was almost like crying. I had forgotten that feeling. Hope. Don't give up yet, Minsu said. Let me think about this. There has to be a way. As he walked back to the base, Minsu's mind was already working on the problem. Somewhere in his knowledge of machines and mechanics, there had to be an answer. Behind him, Veilthes held the small wrench carefully and felt something it had not felt in decades. Maybe this human was different. Maybe this time things could change. For 3 days, Minsu worked on his plan. During the day, he fixed mining equipment and acted normal. But at night, he drew pictures and made notes. He was designing something that had never been built before. The plan was simple. If the dragon could not drink water normally, maybe it could drink water through a machine. Minsu would build a system with tubes and pumps that would put water directly into the dragon's mouth. Maybe the curse would not affect water that came through a machine. He needed parts. Small tubes, a water pump, and a power source. Getting these things without anyone noticing was hard. He took a little bit from here and there, things that would not be missed. On the 4th night, he was ready to try. Minsu walked to the north caves with a bag full of equipment. The dragon was waiting for him as it had been every night since their first meeting. You have been busy, Veilthes said, looking at the bag. I made something for you, Minsu said. He pulled out his invention. It looked like a strange metal snake with a small pump attached. This might help you drink. The dragon's eyes became bright with hope. How does it work? The pump pushes water through this tube. The water goes straight into your mouth. Maybe the curse won't see it as drinking if it comes from a machine. Veilthes nodded slowly. It is worth trying. Minsu set up the system. He put one end of the tube in the water pool and the other end near the dragon's mouth. He connected the pump to a small battery and turned it on. The pump made a soft humming sound. Water began to flow through the tube. Ready? Minsu asked. The dragon opened its mouth. Minsu guided the tube so the water would flow onto the dragon's tongue. For a moment, it seemed to work. Water flowed from the tube into the dragon's mouth. Veilthes looked happy for the first time in 100 years. Then the water turned to steam. The dragon's mouth filled with hot steam instead of cool water. Veilthes made a sound of pain and pulled back. I'm sorry, Minsu said quickly. I'm so sorry. The dragon closed its mouth and looked down at the ground. The hope in its eyes was gone, replaced by the same sadness as before. It was a good idea, Veilthes said quietly. But the curse is too strong. Minsu felt terrible. He had given the dragon hope and then taken it away. Maybe I can try something else. Maybe... No, the dragon said. I should have known better than to hope. But Minsu was not ready to give up. He looked at the failed machine and thought about what had happened. The water had flowed through the tube. It had reached the dragon's mouth. Only then had it turned to steam. Wait, he said. The curse didn't affect the water in the tube. It only affected it when it touched you. What does that matter? Veilthes asked. It means the curse has rules. It doesn't affect all water everywhere. Just water that you try to drink. The dragon looked at him with a little bit of interest. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that every rule has a way around it. I just need to find the right way. Before Veilthes could answer, they heard voices. Human voices getting closer. Someone's coming, Minsu whispered. He quickly grabbed his equipment and stuffed it into his bag. I have to go. Be careful, the dragon said. Minsu ran toward the voices, trying to make it look like he was just walking back from somewhere normal. He met Kim Daeho and 2 other workers near the equipment shed. Minsu, Daeho called. What are you doing out here? I couldn't sleep, Minsu said. I was just walking around. You shouldn't be out here alone at night, said one of the other workers. It's not safe. I know, I'm going back now. But as they walked back to the base, Minsu noticed that Daeho kept looking at him strangely. The older man seemed suspicious. The next day, Minsu tried to work normally, but he could not stop thinking about the dragon. He had learned something important last night. The curse followed rules. If he could understand the rules, he could find a way around them. At lunch, he went back to the computer room to read more about curses and magic. He found some old books that talked about how magical spells worked. Most of it was hard to understand, but one thing was clear: magic always had limits. Still reading about the dragon, Minsu looked up. Daeho was standing in the doorway, but he did not look friendly. Just curious, Minsu said. Curious enough to visit at night? Minsu's heart started beating fast. What do you mean? I saw you coming from the North Caves last night. You had a bag with you. Daeho sat down. What were you doing out there? Minsu thought about lying, but Daeho had seen him. I was trying to help it. Help it how? I built a machine. I thought maybe it could drink water through a tube. Daeho stared at him. You tried to give the dragon water? Yes. Are you crazy? Do you know what would happen if Li Jiwan found out? Please don't tell her, Minsu said. I wasn't hurting anyone. You were hurting yourself. And everyone else on this station. Daeho stood up. That dragon is dangerous. If you make it angry, it could kill us all. It's not angry. It's just sad. Today it's sad. Tomorrow it might be hungry. And you know what dragons eat? Daeho walked toward the door, then stopped. I'm sorry, kid. I like you. But I can't let you put everyone at risk. Daeho, please. But the older man was already gone. An hour later, Choi Soman came to find Minsu. She was the station's security chief, a serious woman who never smiled. Park Minsu, she said. I need to talk to you. They went to her office. It was a small room with no windows and bright lights. Soman sat behind her desk and looked at him like he was a criminal. I hear you've been visiting the dragon, she said. Yes, ma'am. Why? I wanted to help it. Help it do what? Drink water. It's been trying to drink for 100 years, but the curse won't let it. Someone leaned forward. And you thought you could break 100-year-old curse? I thought I could try. Well, you can't. From now on, you're not allowed near the North Caves. I'm putting sensors around the area. If you go there, I'll know. But, no buts. This is for your safety and everyone else's. She stood up. Go back to work. And don't let me catch you near that dragon again. Minsu walked back to the equipment shed feeling angry and frustrated, but he was not ready to give up. He had learned something important from his failed experiment. The curse had rules. And rules could be broken. That night, he lay in his bed thinking about what he had seen. The water had flowed through the tube. It had reached the dragon's mouth. The curse had only activated when the water actually touched the dragon's tongue. Maybe the problem was not the water. Maybe the problem was the touching dot. What if he could find a way to get water into the dragon without it ever touching the dragon directly? It was a crazy idea. But Minsu was beginning to think that crazy ideas might be the only way to solve impossible problems. Outside, he could hear the dragon's sad crying in the distance. But now, instead of just feeling sorry for Veilthes, Minsu felt determined he would find a way. He had to. 3 days passed. Minsu worked on the mining equipment during the day, but his mind was always on the dragon. He had not been able to visit Veilthes because of the sensors that Choi Soman had put around the North Caves. But every night he could still hear the dragon's sad crying. On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. A new person arrived at the mining station. Her name was Oyeonjin, and she was a xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien life forms. She's here to study the local crystal formations, Lee Jawan explained to the workers at the morning meeting. She'd be staying for 2 weeks. After the meeting, Minsu watched Hyunjin set up her equipment in the science lab. She was young. Maybe his age, with kind eyes and gentle hands as she worked with her instruments. Excuse me, Minsu said, walking into the lab. Are you only studying crystals? Hyunjin looked up and smiled. Hello, you must be one of the miners. What's your name? Park Minsu. I'm a mechanic. Nice to meet you, Minsu. And no, I'm not only studying crystals. I'm interested in all life forms on this planet. Why do you ask? Minsu looked around to make sure no one was listening. What do you know about the dragon? Hyunjin's eyes became bright with interest. The dragon? I've read about it in the reports. A cursed creature that's been trapped here for a century. Fascinating from a scientific point of view. Would you like to know more about it? Of course. But the reports say it's dangerous to approach. It's not dangerous, Minsu said. It's just suffering. That evening, Minsu told Hyunjin everything. He told her about meeting Veilthes, about the curse, and about his failed attempt to help the dragon drink water. So, the curse prevents any liquid from touching the dragon's mouth, Hyunjin said, making notes. But the liquid only turns to steam when it makes contact with the dragon itself. That's right. The water flowed through my tube just fine. It only became steam when it touched the dragon's tongue. Interesting. The curse seems to be very specific. It affects the dragon's ability to consume liquids, but not the liquids themselves. That's what I thought too. But I don't know how to use that information. Hyunjin was quiet for a moment, thinking, I've studied many different types of alien biology. Some creatures have very unique ways of getting water into their systems. Like what? Some creatures absorb water through their skin. Others get it from the air they breathe. And some can process water in forms that aren't exactly liquid. What do you mean? Well, what if we could get water into the dragon without it technically drinking? What if we could find a way to deliver water that the curse wouldn't recognize as drinking? Minsu felt excitement growing in his chest. How would we do that? I have some ideas. But first, I need to see the dragon myself. I need to understand how the curse works. The next night, Hyunjin and Minsu found a way past the sensors. They used a maintenance tunnel that went under the North Caves. It was small and uncomfortable, but it worked. When they came out of the tunnel, they were inside the dragon's cave. Veilthes was lying on the ground, looking even thinner than before. Park Minsu, the dragon said weakly, you came back. I brought someone to help, Minsu said. This is Oyunjin. She's a scientist. Hyunjin stepped forward, and Minsu could see that she was nervous but trying not to show it. Hello, Veilthes. I'm honored to meet you. The dragon looked at her with surprise. You are not afraid? I'm terrified, Hyunjin said honestly, but I'm also amazed. You're incredible. Veilthes made a sound that might have been laughter. I am a dying creature, trapped by an ancient curse. You're a living being who deserves help, Hyunjin said. Can you tell me exactly how the curse works? The dragon explained everything. How the curse had been placed on him by the dying empress. How any liquid he tried to drink would turn to steam. How he had tried everything to break the curse, but nothing worked. The curse is very specific, Hyunjin said when the dragon finished. It prevents you from drinking liquids, but what about solids? I do not understand. Ice is water, but it's solid, not liquid. What happens if you try to eat ice? I have tried. The ice melts from my body heat before I can put it in my mouth. What about very cold ice? Ice that's so cold it might not melt right away? Veilthes shook his great head. I have tried that too. Nothing works. But Hyunjin was not discouraged. She walked around the dragon, studying its body and breathing. Your body temperature is very high because of the curse. It's like you have a fever that never goes away. Yes, the curse makes me hot and dry. What if we could cool you down? Not permanently, but just long enough to get some water into your system? How? Hyunjin looked at Minsu. You're a mechanic. Could you build a cooling system? Something that could lower the dragon's body temperature for a short time? Minsu's mind started working. Maybe I could use the same cooling units we use for the mining equipment. They're designed to keep machines from overheating. But would it work on a living creature? Veilthes asked. I don't know, Hyunjin said. But it's worth trying. Over. The next few days, Minsu and Hyunjin worked together secretly. During the day, they did their normal jobs. But at night, they met in the tunnel and planned. Hyunjin studied the dragon's biology and figured out how much cooling would be needed. Minsu designed a system of cooling tubes and fans that could be placed around the dragon's body. The key is timing, Hyunjin explained. We need to cool the dragon down quickly, then get water into its system before the curse can react. But how do we get water into the dragon without it drinking? That's the genius part. We don't make the dragon drink. We deliver water in a way that bypasses the drinking process entirely. How? Intravenous delivery. We put the water directly into the dragon's bloodstream, like doctors do with sick patients. Minsu stared at her. You want to give the dragon in 4? Exactly. The curse prevents drinking, but it doesn't prevent water from entering the body through other means. That's brilliant. It's risky. We don't know if it will work. And if we're caught, we'll both be in serious trouble. Minsu looked at her with respect. Why are you helping? You barely know me or the dragon, Hyunjin smiled. Because you're right. Every living creature deserves a chance to be happy. And because I believe that human ingenuity can solve problems that seem impossible. That night they told Veilthes about their plan. The dragon listened carefully, and when they finished, there was something like hope in its ancient eyes. You would risk so much for me? The dragon asked. Yes, Minsu said simply. We start tomorrow night, Hyunjin said. We'll need help getting the equipment, though. I know someone who might help, Minsu said. On Sunwoo, the chief engineer. He's a good man. The next day, Minsu approached Sunwoo carefully. He told him about the dragon's suffering and about their plan to help. Sunwoo listened without saying anything. When Minsu finished, the older man was quiet for a long time. This is dangerous, Sunwoo finally said. If you're caught, you'll be sent back to Earth. I know. And if the dragon gets angry, people could die. The dragon won't get angry. It just wants to drink water. Sunwoo looked at him for a long moment. I saw the dragon once, years ago. It was trying to drink from a puddle after a rainstorm, the look in its eyes. He shook his head. I've never forgotten it. Will you help us? What do you need? That evening, Sunwoo quietly provided the cooling equipment and the medical supplies they needed. He didn't ask questions, and he didn't want to know details, he just helped. Good luck, he said as he handed them the last piece of equipment. I hope this works. Minsu and Hyunjin looked at each other. Tomorrow night, they would either save the dragon or fail completely, but for the first time in 100 years, Relentless would have a real chance at drinking water. And that was worth any risk. The next day started badly. At the morning meeting, Choi Soman announced that she was increasing security around the North Caves. We've detected movement in the restricted area, she said, looking directly at Minsu. Someone has been going where? They shouldn't go, Lee Ji-won looked worried. Do you think someone is bothering the dragon? I think someone is being foolish, Soman replied. I'm doubling the number of sensors and adding cameras. If anyone goes near those caves, they'll be caught. After the meeting, Hyunjin found Minsu in the equipment shed. This is bad, she whispered. How are we going to get to the dragon tonight? I don't know, Minsu said, but we have to try. The dragon is getting weaker every day. Maybe we should wait until the security dies down. We can't wait, look at this. Minsu showed her a picture he had taken through the tunnel the night before. In the picture, Relentless looked terrible. The dragon's scales were more gray than ever, and its eyes were dull with pain. Oh no, Hyunjin said softly. It's dying. That's why we have to try tonight. Even if we get caught? That afternoon, Nam Gi-hwan, the station commander, called a special meeting. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. Everyone respected him because he was fair and honest. I've been hearing reports about someone trying to help the dragon. He said, I want to make something clear. The station's first priority is keeping everyone safe. The dragon is dangerous, and anyone who goes near it puts all of us at risk. He looked around the room. I know some of you feel sorry for the creature. I feel sorry for it too, but sympathy cannot override safety. Anyone caught near the dragon will be sent back to Earth immediately. Minsu felt his heart sink. But then Gi-won said something unexpected. However, I also want to say this. If someone had a real plan to help the dragon safely, I would be willing to listen. But it would have to be a plan that didn't put anyone in danger. After the meeting, Minsu wondered if he should tell Gi-won about their plan. But before he could decide, Hyunjin grabbed his arm. We have a problem, she said. Kim Dae-ho is watching us. Minsu looked across the cafeteria. Dae-ho was sitting alone, but his eyes were following Minsu's every move. He knows something, Minsu said. We need to be extra careful tonight. That evening, Minsu and Hyunjin waited until very late before making their move. They gathered all their equipment and went to the maintenance tunnel. But when they got there, they found Dae-ho waiting for them. I knew you'd come here, Dae-ho said. You just couldn't leave that dragon alone. Please don't stop us, Minsu said. The dragon is dying. I know it is. I can hear it getting weaker every night. Dae-ho was quiet for a moment. What exactly are you planning to do? Minsu and Hyunjin looked at each other. Then Minsu decided to trust him. He explained their whole plan, the cooling system, the delivery, everything. When he finished, Dae-ho was quiet for a long time. That's either brilliant or completely crazy, Dae-ho finally said. Maybe both, Hyunjin said. If you get caught, you'll be sent home. And if the dragon dies during your experiment, everyone will blame you. If we don't try, the dragon dies anyway, Minsu said. Dae-ho sighed. I guess I'm getting too old to be sensible. Go ahead, but I'm coming with you. Why? Because if something goes wrong, you'll need help. And because I'm tired of listening to that poor creature suffer every night. The three of them crawled through the tunnel with all their equipment. It was harder with 3 people, but they managed. When they reached the dragon's cave, Relentless barely lifted its head. The great creature looked worse than ever. Park Minsu, the dragon whispered. You came back? I thought you had given up. Never, Minsu said. We're going to help you tonight. This is Kim Dae-ho, Hyunjin said, introducing the older. Man, he wants to help too. Relentless looked at Dae-ho with surprise. Another human who is not afraid? I'm scared to death, Deho said honestly. But being scared never stopped anyone from doing the right thing. They worked quickly to set up the equipment. Minsu and Deho positioned the cooling units around the dragon's body. Hyunjin prepared the 4 equipment with careful, steady hands. This might feel strange, Hyunjin told the dragon. The cooling units will make you feel cold for the first time in 100 years. I am ready, Valthi said. Minsu turned on the cooling system. Cold air began flowing from the units, surrounding the dragon's massive body. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, steam began to rise from the dragon's scales as its body temperature started to drop. It's working, Hyunjin said, watching her instruments. The dragon's temperature is dropping fast. Valthi made a sound of surprise. I can feel it. The terrible heat is going away. Now for the hard part, Hyunjin said. She found a large vein in the dragon's arm and carefully inserted the 4 needle. The dragon was so large that the needle looked tiny, but Hyunjin's hands were steady. Ready? She asked. Ready? Valthi said. Hyunjin opened the valve. Water began flowing through the tube, directly into the dragon's bloodstream. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Valthi made a sound that was part gasp, part sob. I can feel it, the dragon whispered. Water, real water, inside me. The water kept flowing. The dragon's eyes began to brighten. Its scales started to regain some of their color. It's working, Minsu said. The curse isn't affecting the water. But their celebration was cut short by the sound of footsteps in the tunnel. Someone was coming. Security, Deho said grimly. They found us. How much more time do you need? Minsu asked the Hyunjin. At least 10 more minutes to get enough water into the dragon's system. The footsteps were getting closer. Soon, security guards would come out of the tunnel and arrest all of them. Keep going, Minsu said. I'll handle this. Minsu. No, Hyunjin said. If they catch you, the dragon is more important. Minsu walked to the tunnel entrance just as Choi Soman and 2 guards came out. Behind them was Lee Ji-won and Nam Gi-won. Park Minsu, Soman said angrily. I told you to stay away from this dragon. No, Minsu said, but I couldn't let it die. You've put everyone at risk, Soman said. Guards, arrest him. But before the guards could move, Nam Ji-won held up his hand. Wait, the commander walked past Minsu and looked at what they were doing. He saw the cooling equipment, the 4 system, and the dragon looking better than it had in years. What exactly are you doing? Gowon asked. We're giving the dragon water through in 4, Hyunjin explained, not stopping her work. The curse prevents it from drinking, but it doesn't prevent water from entering through medical treatment. Gowon stared at them. And it's working. Look at the dragon, Deho said. It looks better already. Everyone looked at Valthi. The dragon's scales were definitely brighter, and its breathing was easier. How much longer? Gowon asked. 5 more minutes, Hyunjin said. Gowon was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to Soman. Let them finish. Sir, this is against regulations. The regulations don't cover this situation, Gowon said firmly. These people are saving a life. Soman looked angry, but she stepped back. For 5 more minutes, they all watched as water flowed into the dragon's system. Valthi looked better and better with each passing moment. Finally, Hyunjin turned off the IV. That's enough for now. Too much too fast might be dangerous. Valthi lifted its great head and looked at all the humans gathered around. When the dragon spoke, its voice was stronger than it had been in years. You did it, the dragon said. For the first time in 100 years, I am not thirsty. The dragon's eyes filled with tears, real tears, not steam. Thank you, Valthi whispered, all of you. Thank you for giving me hope again. Minsu felt tears in his own eyes. They had done it. They had actually done it, but this was just the beginning. The dragon was better, but the curse was not broken yet. And now everyone knew what they had been doing. Everything was about to change. Valthi was no longer the weak, dying creature they had known. The dragon stood tall outside its cave, scales shining bright blue in the morning sun. Its voice was strong and clear when it spoke to the humans who had gathered to see the miracle. I owe you all my life, the dragon said to Minsu, Hyunjin, and Daeho. But most of all, I owe you my hope. News of what had happened spread quickly through the mining station. Some people were afraid that the dragon might be dangerous now that it was healthy again. Others were amazed that the humans had broken. 100-year-old curse. Nam Giwan called another meeting that morning. Everyone on the station was there, including Yang Yunbi, a diplomatic officer who had arrived on the morning transport. What happened last night changes everything, Giwan said. We need to decide how to move forward. The dragon should be studied, said one of the scientists. This is the first time in history that a magical curse has been broken by technology. The dragon should be left alone, said another worker. It suffered enough. What does the dragon want? Asked Yang Umbi. Everyone looked at Minsu. He had become the unofficial spokesperson for the dragon. I'll ask, Minsu said. He walked to the north caves where Velthes was waiting. The dragon had heard the discussions from the meeting room. They want to know what I plan to do now that I am free, the dragon said. The curse is broken? Minsu asked. Not completely, but your treatment weakened it greatly. I can drink water now, though it still requires effort. And most importantly, I am no longer bound to this planet. You could leave? Yes, I could fly away and never return. The dragon looked at Minsu with its ancient eyes. But I do not want to. Why not? Because for the first time in 100 years I have found friends. Real friends who helped me when I had nothing to offer in return. Velthes stood up to its full height. The dragon was enormous, but Minsu was no longer afraid. I want to stay and help your people, the dragon said. This planet has many dangers, storms, wild animals, unstable ground. I could protect the humans who work here, and in exchange, friendship, and perhaps more of your wonderful water treatments when the curse becomes strong again. Minsu smiled. I think we can arrange that. When Minsu returned to the meeting, he told everyone what the dragon had said. The room was quiet for a moment. A dragon protector, Yang Umbi said thoughtfully. This could change everything about how humans explore dangerous planets. But can we trust it? Asked Choi Soman. The dragon has been free for 12 hours, Minsu pointed out. It could have destroyed the station and flown away. Instead, it stayed to thank us. That's true, said Gilwan, but we still need to be careful. Over. The next few days, they worked out an agreement. Velthes would stay near the mining station and help protect it from the planet's dangers. In exchange, the humans would provide regular water treatments and companionship. The dragon proved its worth quickly. On the third day, a massive storm hit the planet. The wind was so strong it could have destroyed the mining equipment and hurt the workers. But Velthes used its huge body to shield the station from the worst of the storm. The dragon saved us millions of credits in damage, On Sunwoo reported, and probably saved lives too. But the biggest surprise came a week later. Velthes asked to speak with the geology team. I have lived on this planet for 100 years, the dragon told them. I know where the best crystals are hidden. The dragon led them to a deep cave system that no human had ever found. Inside were crystals unlike anything they had ever seen, larger, purer, and more valuable than anything they had mined before. This is incredible, said the chief geologist. These crystals are worth a fortune. Consider it a gift, Velthes said, to thank you for giving me back my life. The discovery made the mining operation one of the most successful in human history. But more than that, it proved that cooperation between humans and other species could benefit everyone. A month later, Minsu was working on a new water treatment system for the dragon when Hyunjin found him. There's someone here to see you, she said. Minsu looked up to see Nam Taeyun, a young man about his own age wearing the uniform of a new mining worker. I heard about what you did, Taeyun said. How you helped the dragon. I requested assignment to this station because I wanted to learn from you. Learn what? How to help others, even when it seems impossible, Minsu smiled. It's not hard. You just have to care enough to try. Over the following weeks, more young workers requested assignments to the station. They all wanted to be part of the miracle that had happened there. The station became known throughout human space as the place where compassion had triumphed over ancient magic. But the most important change was in the relationships between the people on the station. The dragon's presence had brought them all together. Daeho, who had once been suspicious of the dragon, now spent his evenings talking with Velthes about the old days. Hyunjin continued her research, but now she had a living dragon to help her understand alien biology. Even Choi Somin had changed. She no longer saw the dragon as a threat, but as a member of their community who needed protection just like everyone else. "You know what the best part is?" Hyunjin said to Minsu one evening as they watched the sunset together. "What? We didn't just save the dragon. We proved that humans can make friends with anyone, even creatures from completely different worlds. That's what humans do best," Minsu said. "We see someone suffering and we try to help. Even when everyone says it's impossible, especially then." From the crystal caves came the sound of Velthes singing, a deep, beautiful song that dragons had sung for thousands of years. It was a song of joy and gratitude, and it echoed across the planet like a promise that even the oldest curses could be broken by kindness, that even the loneliest creatures could find friendship, and that sometimes the most important thing humans could do was offer a drink of water to someone who was thirsty. As the stars came out above Kepler 442b, Minsu felt proud of what they had accomplished. Not just breaking a curse or finding valuable crystals, but proving that compassion was the most powerful force in the universe, and somewhere in the caves, an ancient dragon who had forgotten how to hope was teaching young humans the old songs of its people. While they taught it new ways to find joy in friendship, the future was bright with possibilities. And it all started with one simple act of kindness: offering water to someone who needed it. The ND.